savage. His too.
Dude.
That's so I wonder why that is. I mean, okay, culturally, my dad's English, and I grew up in a household where drinking was just. I mean, I was at a family gathering with my wife's family not too long ago, and we were at a restaurant and we were drinking, and I just kind of treated it like I would treat a family gathering with my own family, which means that we were at that restaurant like 3 or 4 hours, and they were drinking these mixed drinks, and they were nice mixed drinks, I guess. You know, like they're like martinis and cocktails and this type of shit, and it looked kind of nice. And I tried one. The problem I always have with mixed drinks is that anytime I add something to whiskey, it makes whiskey worse. So I don't understand the fucking point of a whiskey mixed drink in a sense, because they'll give me this, and they're like, oh, we've added bitters to this and a sugar cube, and I'm like, okay, but it tastes less good now because of that. So at one point they were ordering this stuff, and I asked them and the waiter asked me, what cocktail would you like? And I said, I'd like this one. It was like number 69 on the cocktail list or something. It's a whiskey one. And I said, but I'd like you to hold everything except the whiskey. And we're in Wisconsin. This is where my wife's family at, and they brought it back, and he did that. I was getting like half pints of whiskey instead of a cocktail for the rest of the evening, which was phenomenal. I loved it. I'm like, oh, this is great service. This is what I was expecting. But no one else in that family
is what I needed.
No, that was the problem. It's because the rest of the family is not big drinkers. If I'd been at home with my family, like a family gathering, everyone would have had that, right? So everyone would have been wasted, and you could have said fucking anything you wanted, and at the end of it, you'd be fine. But this was my wife's family, so they're all like, 2 of them are drinking, whatever that happens to be that Taylor's drinking over here, a little bit of champagne, slowly, not like, nursing it. And I'm like, yeah, I'll have a 4th, so. I don't know.
That's how, like my dad's side of the family is Catholic. And so every event over there, they're like, hey, Saturday the 5th. It's like, what's that? It doesn't matter. We're drinking, Like, Catholic people are probably the most fun group to hang out with on religious holidays, because there's never even, aside from like maybe a couple of actual like Catholic relatives, most of them, it's like if you even ask them like, hey, you believe in God? They're like, oh, come on, like let's not get into that. Like,
you're going full Hillary on this. Didn't she rock Catholics recently? Like, Catholics, they fucking drunks, don't believe in God. Love them.
Catholics are fun. They know how to have fun on Christmas. They don't get caught up like Baptists and those people who are like, no dancing, no salted meats, no snacks. Like,
whatever religion Footloose was.
Yeah, But Catholics get wild.
What backgrounds are you guys coming from? So I don't care about the religious element. I'm curious about the alcohol backgrounds in your families, like different.
So both my grandfathers died of alcohol-related illnesses at early ages.
I laugh because of how inappropriate it is that you're doing a drinking podcast about it. That's the case, but just anyways, sorry.
Yeah, so both of my grandfathers they died from alcohol. It killed them. So yeah, both of them died. My dad drinks. I wouldn't say regularly, but I wouldn't say occasionally either. Somewhere in between. Like, he usually keeps beer in his fridge over at his shop, and in the afternoon he may have 3 or he may have 8 if it's like been a hard day. But he's a big guy, so he doesn't get sloppy by any means. He just gets friendly, and that's about it. My mom,
like some strong beer, like Filthy has, or just a nice Miller Lite or whatever the hell it is.
It's Miller Lite. He's just drinking beer. Yeah. There was one time
4.4%, I think.
It's 5.5.
Right?
I don't know.
It's 5.
4.4. I think I looked this up recently because I was having a conversation about this.
I like Miller Lite, but I've bought kegs of beer to shoot before, and I would have one left over, and just leave it over, and they would a whole keg.
My father's father was a bad alcoholic. He ran away when my dad was 10, I think, and he used to beat like his wife and maybe my dad or his sister or something like that. Like, he was a bad guy. And because of that, my father had strong opinions on alcohol. My mother doesn't drink much. She'll have a glass at Easter and maybe New Year's or something like that. I think in another universe where she married some other guy, maybe she'd drink a little more, but not a lot. Maybe have 3 glasses on an occasion like that.
But your dad doesn't drink whatsoever at all.
No, not only does he not drink whatsoever at all. Like, we were children, and we reported my mother to this school as someone who had a drinking problem. because she drinks wine too often. I forget the phrasing, but it was like, yeah, she has a wine, and it's not right. And they looked into it, and they kind of laughed at us when we thought, 2 glasses a year was a lot. But that was my father's influence. Like, we thought that any drink was a crazy drink, and yeah, we reported
temperance.
At school.
It's so funny.
So
I did a similar thing with that, Woody. Like we had some like health presentation I don't remember what grade this was, middle school sometime, and they came in, they're talking about, they might be a drunk at this, that, or the other, and I after class asked one of them, I'm like, I think my dad drinks this much per night type deal, and they just like, okay. Like they didn't know fucking they looked into it for you. For me, they're just like, yeah, okay, kid, go away.
I forget if it was my brother or if it was me. It might have been my brother who reported my mother for excessive drinking, and the school system called her and asked her about it, and she smoothed it over. But we thought that that her level of drinking, which is literally just a few drinks a year, was excessive, because my father is just. I've never seen him have a drink of anything in my whole life. He told me that he drank once when he was a kid and didn't know it, that he was having what is vodka and orange juice called? A screwdriver?
Screwdriver.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was having screwdrivers, and he didn't realize it was alcoholic.
Most is champagne, and
I know I have champagne on the brain.
Anyway, I think I'm dragging out this story. So yeah, my drinking background is hardly any drinking at all. As my father would be ashamed if he saw that I had drinking Kyle's best. he would not be for that.
Despicable,
classless.
This champagne. This is dry, and it is horrible.
I'm going to go downstairs and look for a drink. Hold on.
What year is that champagne? Because...
Be right back.
This Chandon is a brute classic from California. It is a... If they don't put the year, I assume this is like...
Yesterday.
In August?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think the thing with champagne is you don't want an old champagne. Like, that's not what you're going for.
You don't want like an old carbonated beverage, I wouldn't think. Right?
Yeah. I don't think it has necessarily to do with the carbonation.
So,
I have no idea.
I was talking to a friend recently, like one of my wife's sister's husbands, and they were talking about Miller Lite with their beer that doesn't meet spec. Doesn't meet Miller Lite spec, which God alone is at that. That's a pretty low bar, right? That is apparently another brand of beer that we are buying now. Does that seem reasonable to you? That feels like an urban legend to me in a sense. But I am kind of curious if this is the case.
Wait, what do you mean? I'm misunderstanding.
So when you brew a beer, there's things that can go wrong with that. It can be you can get the color off from various reasons. You can get the taste off slightly. You can have like a skunked beer when you brew a beer that's just like the batch is no good, this style thing, right? And my understanding is that the Miller Lite level of brewing, that's what needs to happen. Like the spec for the color, the taste, the flavor, who the fuck knows what else, right? That when that is not met, that is still bottled and sold, but it's sold as a different brand of beer. And you guys haven't heard this at all?
Mm-mm.
Okay. So they would take the old Miller Lite, or like the bad Bud Light, sell it as natural light?
Yeah, exactly. Like Natty Light is like something like that, I believe. And now I don't fucking know this, and that could just be like it sounds urban legendy in a sense, like because it sounds like bullshit. But I'm kind of curious. Do you guys know either way?
I don't know, but that's an interesting.
But I like Natty Light. It reminds me of college.
That's what I buy. That's what I get kegs of to shoot. Natty Light is the cheapest keg to buy.
It's fun. Like it's just like the taste of it. It's not good. It's not flavorful. It tastes like slightly beery water. That's it. It's basically water. You're hydrating at the same time. But that's what we drank in college, because it was like, hey, do you want to get a 30, or do you want to buy this, that, and the other, or do you want to get a 30-pack of Natty Light at this Walmart for $9? It's like, well, we can't just let's get 6 of those, and then I don't know, like some Tic Tacs with the money left. Like that's about it. Like that's all you ever needed. That's like if you showed up with a 30 rack of Natty Light, a Natty pack. Everybody loved you. I like that. Well, not as much as they'd love you if you brought a bag of wine. But I've spent a lot of time going over the value intrinsic in a bag of wine around college-age girls. Yes. Yeah, they all love that. Because it's basically like, girls on college campuses get drinks for free no matter what.
Is the point to get drunk or to get laid?
Both.
Neither.
Is the point to get drunk or to get laid behind this alcohol? Because I feel like the wine...
Tonight for us?
No, it's for the beer that Taylor's buying.
No, I'm talking. This is like if you're going to a party. So like if I went to a big friend then I would show up with a 30-pack of Natty if it was just a bunch of like dudes hanging out partying for the most part, and then some girls trickling in. But if it's a bunch of girls going, you bring a big bag of wine because they're so used to like, hey, do you want another Natty? Do you want another, pull of this nasty ass McCormick's vodka that everybody's pulling out of in this nasty hallway with a half sunken floor because there's so much spilled shit in it, and there's like raccoons running around the ceiling. But if you had a bag of wine, like anywhere else in the world, you hold a nice bag of wine up for a woman and she'll go, no, thank you. But that's like an upper echelon. That's like, ooh, look at this. Ooh, that's not even carbonated mainly. That's wine through a nozzle. Have you ever had wine through a nozzle, Samantha? I have not. Go. This guy
aerates it.
Yeah, and then you go, here you go, slap the bag, and then they go, what? And you go, come on, just give it a slap. Slap that bag, and then you get people into it, and they slap the bag, and they turn the nozzle, and they drink it, and everybody's having a good time.
I remember in high school, there's a guy I went to high school with.